Hey guys, I wanted to come to you about this article. It's from September 22nd, 2025. I've been meaning to come to you about it, but I just haven't had the chance. But this article is out of New Jersey and it says scapegoated. Fired nurse claims Virtua Health blamed her for baby mix-up. So I don't know if you heard about it, but there was a baby mix-up. They didn't leave the hospital or anything, but they were mixed up in the hospital, and I believe mom's fed the wrong baby. So let's read more about it. Voorhees, a South Jersey nurse, is suing the hospital where she worked, saying she was unfairly fired and made a scapegoat for a baby swap situation that happened over the summer. Joyce Fisher of Clayton reported to work on July 5th at Virtua Health Hospital in Voorhees and found that two newborns had accidentally been brought to the wrong patient's rooms and each breastfed by a stranger. This is like one of those things you never want to happen. Fisher was just starting her workday at 7 a.m. and came into the situation involving new moms in rooms 444 and 447 following an overnight nurse's actions, according to the complaint filed in late August in Camden County Superior Court. It was impossible for plaintiff to prevent the mistaken breastfeeding, the lawsuit said, because the patient mother for room 444 had already breastfed the wrong infant before plaintiff's shift started at 7 a.m. Mistaken breastfeeding happened before the nurse's shift began, lawsuit says. Instead, the nurse who had worked an overnight said to Fisher that around 2:30 a.m., the parents had requested that each of their newborns spend time in the nursery as they slept. Before this mistake was discovered by anyone, the wrong babies were returned to the respective rooms at 6 a.m., 1 hour before Fisher was even expected at work, the complaint said. The overnight nurse must have confirmed their identification by matching their ID bracelets with their bassinets and mother's ID bracelets, as is required by the hospital's policies, the lawsuit continued. And I think we should stop here and read this message. We're going to pick up where the blue picks up. Babies were already in the rooms and already fed before I even got to their room. And then the response here is, oh, absolutely. The babies were already in the rooms before you even came to work, and I never mentioned you or anyone at all when I gave my account. I had told them it was 100% me who took the babies back. I'm so sorry you are going through this. I didn't know, and honestly, it never entered my mind that this would happen to you. You weren't even there. Are you doing okay? If there's anything that you need, just reach out, blah, blah, blah. Hospital protocol and ID breakdown. Fisher noticed the mix up as she walked into one of the patient's rooms after the mistaken feeding had already happened. She alerted hospital administrators, including the nursing supervisor and on duty pediatrician, who began breast milk mismanagement protocol, which includes testing for infectious diseases. The patients in room 447 explicitly requested to have Fisher as their nurse, the complaint said, saying she had handled the situation with professionalism and compassion. Fisher continued to care for the same patients the following day on July 6th. On July 7th, Fisher was told she was suspended until further notice while the incident was investigated. The next day, she told administrators that she never performed a bracelet ID check at shift change and was not aware of any expectation to do so because there was no training. So it goes on to say that the overnight nurse takes full accountability for her mistake, according to the complaint, which includes two screenshots of text messages that appear to be from the nurse who worked ahead of Fisher as the baby swap unfolded. Up to and including the day of the baby swap incident, the hospital did not train nurses to check ID bracelets during a shift change, the complaint said. Instead, it was the practice for nurses at Virtua Health's Voorhees location to verify newborn ID tags before any treatment, medication, therapy, procedure, specimen collection, or transport of any newborn. A hospital flyer running through that protocol was shared to the staff that same day, the complaint also said. On July 21st, the hospital filed a formal Health Care Professional Responsibility and Reporting Enhancement Act to the state. Wow. Accusing Fisher of, I think that says misconduct. I can't quite see it. Due to that filing, Fisher is prevented from receiving unemployment, her complaint said. Oh, that's a bummer. Fisher had worked at the hospital from March 2018 through this year, working this entire time with new moms and newborns. She had been given excellent performance reviews, including just months earlier when she was evaluated as, quote, top talent and a, quote, valued contributor, the complaint said. Fisher is seeking back pay and front pay and benefits, as well as compensatory, consequential, and punitive damages for retaliation. She is also seeking the reimbursement of all attorney's fees, expenses, and costs, and other relief, which the court deems just and equitable. We are deeply committed to fostering a fair and just culture where every colleague is empowered and encouraged to speak up about safety concerns without fear of retaliation. Reporting incidents that may impact the safety of our patients' colleagues is both supported and expected as part of our shared responsibility to uphold the highest standards of care, Virtual Health Chief Clinical Officer said. While we do not comment on pending legal matters or on individual persons, we can say that every situation is thoroughly reviewed. The decisions are made with integrity, compassion, and alignment with our values. We remain steadfast in our commitment to provide a safe, respectful, and transparent environment for all who work and receive care within our health system. I wanted to come back to this page because here are some red rules for newborn safety. And usually with red rules, these are like fireable offenses, right? And I've worked at a place that had red rules years ago, so I didn't even know if it was still a thing because red rules mean you're on a chopping block, right? So let's look at these for this patient, for this specialty, newborns. Red rules for newborn safety. Always use 3 patient identifiers for newborns: patient's name, date of birth, and medical record number before any treatment, medication therapy, procedure, specimen collection, or transport. No exceptions, even if you're familiar with the patient. Compare 3 identifiers to order, label, and record. Patient identifiers must match on both patient and documentation. Expect 100% compliance from all team members. So here's the thing. It doesn't say when you're handing over the baby to the mom that you should check ID, which you should, right? It says on transport. So meaning when the nurse took the baby from the nursery, she should have checked, right? And she could have checked, but she could have just checked it and then gone to um, the wrong patient's room, and then it doesn't require that you check it upon entering the room to match it with mom. So I really do think this is on the health system. Um, I would totally defend this nurse because they weren't taught this in practice. And that's really on the hospital, to be honest. If you are a new grad coming out of nursing school and this is your first job at this hospital in this specialty and they don't teach you to do that, then how are you supposed to know? Now, I've worked at many places and the practice is to always check mom and baby's IDs against each other. So even if I left the nursery with the wrong baby and I got to the room, and I would have discovered that I did that on leave, on giving the baby to mom, and then I would have been able to avoid it. So I definitely think this nurse has a case. I hope she's never having to work again unless she wants to, because that was wrong of them. And they also talk about just culture. Well, in just culture, it's not punitive, right? This was an opportunity for the health system to sit back, take a step back, and look at what their red rules say and realize that it's missing an element. We don't mention checking it once the baby is in the room and checking it against moms. So, I mean, just culture would say make sure your ducks are in a row, make sure that you are doing everything you can to be safe for the patient and the nurse, and instead they were punitive and went ahead and fired her. So I think that this is really unfortunate for that nurse. It's probably traumatic for her. I know that there was nothing that she could have done differently. Could she have snatched the baby off the breast to check the ID bands? Yeah, but by that time it was too late anyway, right? But she wouldn't have done that anyway because it wasn't a normal practice for them. But you guys, let me know what you think. If there are any nurses that are following me, let me know what you think. I feel bad for this nurse, and hopefully the hospital learns their lesson from one, this lawsuit, and two, this, medical error, and can do better by their patients and the nurses in the future. Alrighty, guys, like, comment, share, and follow for more.